Hello, everyone. So, I want to talk about the women's basketball. I meant to say women's college basketball game from Sunday, November 14th, 2021. Again, November 14th, 2021, Sunday. The game came on at 3 o'clock. This game was was Stanford University against the University of Texas. And I was so surprised Texas beat Stanford because I'm tired of them putting Stanford up on a pedestal. There are so many other great teams out there. And they beat Stanford. And I was just excited for that. I was excited for them. I was happy for them. The score was 56 to 61. Obviously, Texas had 61 and Stanford had 61. So I'm going to get down to the nitty gritty about the game. We have Stanford. Now, one of their top players, Haley Jones, all I have to say is I believe that Texas was possibly stopping her because most of her points were on the free throw line the whole time during the game. And she was trying to score layups as they were playing in the game and possibly trying to score 3 point shots or trying to score, within the court, within the paint. And it wasn't working out for her. Maybe she had an off day. But again, most of her points were on the free throw line. There's another player, Wilson, on Stanford. She's a great player, very consistent, hard, tough player. We have the Hall twins. Their last name is spelled Hull. They're good players, but I know one of the twins was scoring more points than the other. I would say Lexi Hall was scoring the most points. She had a good game, even though Stanford lost, but she was stepping it up a bit. Her sister was scoring, but she wasn't scoring as many points. So Lexi, out of the twins, scored the most. I have Brink, who's another player they're trying to boost up and make into a star player. Brink, she was stepping it up a bit. Stanford brought in some bench players. They were coming in good. See, that's what you need. You need consistent bench players, to give your starting five a break. And when you know you could get that starting five a break, you could bring in your strong bench players. So a lot of them were coming in, stepping it up, being good. I don't know their names yet, but I know they came in, um, stepping it up, catching up to Texas, hanging in there with Texas. Because I know the ones they had in there, some of the starting five, they were kind of not playing so well. Maybe the ball was getting taken away a lot. I know on the University of Texas, there were, maybe it was another team, but I know the bench players came in and they were good. I want to talk about Texas because Texas have, you know, some good incoming freshmen playing very well. They're playing like they're sophomores, juniors, or seniors. I know from watching the game, they were saying that the coach recruited a lot of incoming freshmen. I don't know how many in total. I know he have some starting maybe. One of their freshmen is, let me see, I know I wrote her name down, Rory Harmon. She's good. She could be one of the starting fives. I believe she is one of the starting five players and one of their top players. She's very good. She's very quick. That team is they have good speed on their court. I could see a lot of potential in Texas. I could see them going all the way. So that's one of my favorite teams that I'm rooting for to go all the way to the finals. I hope they go to the Final Four. If they win a championship, that'll be good. I just want them to go all the way. I see a lot of potential in that team. And he recruited some good freshmen this year. There's another freshman. Her name is Aaliyah Moore. She's playing good already. I have to write their names down because I hate to say, oh, this girl, was doing this girl was doing that. But I like to just say their names. That way you would know, well, who was doing this, who scored this, who did what. So I like to say their names. So anyway, Leah Moore, she's a freshman playing good. I get them girls in a few years are going to be even tougher because they're already tough as freshmen. Leah Moore is good. You have another girl, Alan Taylor. She's a tough player. You have, again, Rory Harmon, incoming freshman. She's very fast on the court. A lot of them players are very quick on Texas. I know they had a lot of turnovers. I'm talking about Texas. But I guess they turned that around. That's what made me nervous a bit with with them having so many turnovers. But they made it through. They beat Stanford. There's another girl who blew me away. I don't think she was a starting five, but she was thrown into the game to play from sitting on the bench. And she's good. Her last name is Mathoru. She made at least, I would say, 3 3-point shots, or possibly more. Could be 4 or triple threes. I know they say she did triple threes, like 3 3-pointers. And she blew me away. Like, she just had that confidence on the court. And she's also playing like she, like she a junior or senior. And I'm just so happy they beat Stanford. You have the top teams, University of South Carolina. That's one of my favorite teams. I hope they do go all the way. That's the coach, Don Staley is coaching. You have number 2, Connecticut. And let me see who's number 3. I know I had a list here. Number 3 is Maryland. You have number 4, Indiana. Number 5, you have North Carolina State. Number 6, Baylor. Number 7, Stanford. 8, Iowa. 9, Oregon. 10, Louisville. 11, Arizona. You have 12, Texas. Now, there's a chance for Texas. They're number 12, but don't let it fool you. Texas number 12, remember that. Anything could happen. So, my top team so far, I'm going to keep watching the women's college basketball games. I'm going to keep watching more other teams. That way I get a feel for who has a possibility of going all the way. I know they just started playing last week. So, I still got to keep a lookout for other games. But so far, my top favorite, I have University of South Carolina. I have Texas. I'm keeping an eye out for Texas. Number 3, let me see, Arizona. I'm rooting for Arizona. Who else I'm rooting for? I have to add UCLA on the list because I'm from Los Angeles, California. LA is my hometown, so I'm rooting for a California team. UCLA is one of them. Let me see, number 5. I guess I'll add Kentucky. I'm not too sure, but I'll keep them on my list. I know they played Indiana yesterday, November 14, 2021. That game was played after the Stanford and Texas game. And Indiana, they just beat Kentucky. Kentucky had a bad night. Indiana was just, I don't know. And to me, from watching that game, it looked like the referees was just calling fouls on Kentucky unnecessarily. They was on Indiana home court playing. I particularly didn't care much for that game. I watched it, but I didn't like how they kept calling fouls on the University of Kentucky. But I would say more, I'm just not going to get into that. But I thought that was like an unfair game. But we're going to move on from that. And I'll just keep Kentucky on my list. There's another team. Let me see. Baylor, I'm not too sure. I was rooting for Baylor last year. I know they had the coach Kim Mulkey coaching the team, and she's coaching LSU now. And I wonder if that was a good idea for her to go to LSU. I know, that's considered her hometown out there where the college is at, and she just wanted to coach in her hometown. But Baylor, I'm not too sure because I know they have another coach. It's not the players that I'm not sure of. It's just that they have another coach. So I have to watch them. I haven't watched Baylor yet. But I may add them on my list. I'm not too sure. Because with them having another coach, it could be a different team. Like, for instance, we had Pat Summitt on Tennessee. Now, Tennessee used to be one of my favorite teams. They were always in the Final Four. And ever since, Pat Summitt, since Pat Summitt's not there anymore, it's like they have a, whole new staff of coaches. I would say like another coach where the team is just not the same no more. It was a whole different team when Pat Summitt was there. They were always going to the finals, but since Pat is not there anymore and they have another coach, it's like Tennessee is just not the same anymore. I don't see them as a team that can go all the way now. It's a whole different team. So all I have to say is I'm going to end it from here. I'm going to keep watching the women's college basketball games. I do miss watching the WNBA games. And I understand they're a summer league. They're always a summer league. And then when they get out, when they're done, for the season, it's like, oh man, what am I gonna watch now? But we have the NBA that comes. The NBA is on just about every day. So I try to keep up with the NBA. I've been keeping up with the women's college basketball teams. So I'm going to be doing videos on the women's college basketball teams. And I hope to interview players on the women's college basketball team. That's my goal, to interview players, whether it's the NBA, the men's college basketball, WNBA, the women's college basketball. I want to, that's my goal, to interview players. Hopefully go to the games and interview players. I want to do that as well. And that is about it. I suggest you also keep up with the women's college basketball games. They need as much hype just as well as the NBA and the men's college basketball, because I know they hype up the NBA. They always hype up the men's games, but the women's, they need, the women's games, they need that support too. That's why I watch the women's college basketball games and I watch the WNBA, because they need that support just as well as the NBA. There's a lot of good basketball players, a lot of good, players on the WNBA and the women's college basketball team. Because I know some people say, oh, I don't watch the women's college basketball, but these players are very good. You have to watch them. They're good. You can't discriminate because they're women. And you think, oh, they can't play as good as the men. Like, these girls are on the court balling like men. You just have to watch. So just support everybody. Support the men. Support the women. And I'm going to end it for the night. And all I have to say is goodbye. Bye-bye.